And we're up. We're live. Ding dong. Hello, everybody. Okay. So, we've all heard the news. We've all seen those terrible, terrible emails and the horrors that are contained within the Epstein files, within the emails, and we all know what went on that island. But here comes the real question. Let's imagine, because we've seen the people who were invited to these islands, the elites. But what would happen? What would happen if certain occultists from history were to be invited to that island? Because, you see people invited to that island. You see people in the emails, like people get mentioned. People get mentioned like Gurdjieff gets a mention in one of the emails. Steiner gets a mention. Would they have gone to the island if they lived in this time, in this period? I know it's like if you think about it. Deepak Chopra went. Deepak Chopra seemed to have a fun time with Epstein. So when you think of Epstein Island, who would have gotten an invite? And if they would have gotten an invite, do you think they would have accepted it? Hello, everyone in chat, by the way. Jill, Pangloss, Nulu. What is that? Spry Fox? They would make their own island. They may have made their own island. But here, let's see what's up. Let's see. Here's my opinion. And this is my humble opinion. Let me see can I crop this a little bit or no? Okay, it's going to share this. Okay. So here we have the alignment chart. On the left, it's denied. So Epstein would have been like, fuck that guy. On the right, they would have been invited. And maybe somewhere in the middle there, like we can work it out. But then the top axis is, would they have participated? Because some people get invited to the island, but then they're just there for a talk, for a hangout, and a massage, and they leave. Some people go to the island and they get diddled. So this is the center axis is, are they gonna diddle, or are they the diddled? Are they P. Diddy, or are they the baby oil? This isn't a substance monism. We're going to be dualists, and we're going to figure out who's who and who's what. So first up, we got Crowley. Okay. He's just in the middle here because I dragged him on by accident before, and I didn't know how to drag him off. So, Jeffrey Epstein. Would Jeffrey Epstein be into Crowley? Hell yeah. The thing is, because here's the thing. When we think about Crowley nowadays, we look back in history with hindsight. If you lived in the time of Crowley and you didn't hear the stories and you just randomly met him, apparently he was quite charismatic. He knew multiple languages. He knew how to speak like French and German, Italian. And he was quite erudite, had a little bit of aristocratic nature to him. And so it's like, could he talk the talk? Yeah, I think he could have made some like if him and Epstein met at a party, like at Zorro Ranch, and he would have gotten an invite. They would have bonded over like redheads or something. I can see it 100%. He'd be invited. But then would he diddle? Would he Doug Dimmadome diddle or not? And I think it's got to, we all know Crowley's history. We all know. I mean, and here's the thing as well about Crowley. Apparently, he had a thing for redheads, and he only did redheads. This is apparently some like deep Crowley lore that not many people know about. And so apparently Crowley only liked redheaded women. But also, when he did dudes, because Crowley was, he was a bit of a switcher. He played for both teams, Crowley. Apparently, when he went with men into the bathroom, he was always a bottom. So Crowley is what's known as a power bottom. So this is hard because Crowley, he would have diddled, but he himself would have also He would have fiddled, but he would have also liked to get diddled. So this is like one of those things where it's like, even though he's here, he gets pulled back down because he would have also just been like, hey, Epstein, you want to know the real secret to magic? It's in my... it's over here. Like, you know. And like, which Crowley are we talking about as well? Are we talking about like this old demented Crowley, or are we talking about like 18-year-old twink Crowley? If it's 18-year-old twink Crowley, it's down here. If it's like older, like burnt out, magic without tears Crowley, it's going to be up here. So I think like for the sake of equilibrium, we're just going to have to get him or put him right there, smack bang on invited. Smack bang on invited. They would have bonded over like magic, ceremonial magic, hypnosis, certain things like that. Certain things like that. That this Epstein would have definitely been into Crowley. 100%. 100%. So that's Crowley out of the way. We did him first. Who's next up? So this gentleman here, this is Arnaldo Krumheller. Arnaldo Krumheller was a German Rosicrucian who went to South America to start all of the like Rosicrucianism in South America, basically. All the Rosicrucian lodges in South America are in one way or another connected to Krumheller. In fact, if you look up Krumheller and like look up his bibliography and just try to buy his books, most of his books are in Spanish, like untranslated. Some of them are translated into English, but most of them are in Spanish. And so this is one of those things. This is for you South Americans. This is for you Brazilians, you Argentinians, Peruvians, Colombians. You all got to get your Krumheller on if you want to get a real South American Rosicrucian happening. And he's an interesting guy because he met Crowley at one point, and they seemingly got along. And he, you know, he respected the old guard. He liked Levy. He liked Papoose. Oh, I should have put Papoose on this list. Damn. Oh well, we got Levy. He's a French guy, so we'll have the French. What the French do. Now, Krumheller was a doctor, so he would have been intellectual. Because this is the thing about Epstein. This is the thing about Epstein. Epstein liked. He was rich, and so. And he wants to appear intellectual. He wants intellectual people to come and be, you're so smart. Because once you have all the money in the world and all the women, what else can you do? You can lord over them with power. But what another thing that really super rich people like to do is they like to pretend that they're refined, and then to have actual intelligent people be like, you're so smart. Oh, why, thank you, I am. So the doctor, international doctor, multiple languages, refined aristocratic gentleman, I think he would have been invited. But would he have gone? This is the other thing. On this axis, it's like deny, like, actually, maybe denied can also be denied or denied refused. Maybe we'll change this up. Would he have gone? Because would he have known about Epstein? Like and Krumheller was apparently like Steiner and had some like giga clairvoyance going on. So there's a high chance that he wouldn't have been diddled or he wouldn't have been fiddled, because he would have denied. Now, I'm not super certain. I think he would have gotten the invite, but he would have refused. It. So I'm going to put him right back there, that Rosicrucian big boy. FYI, his book, what is it, Logos Mantra Magica? Great book. Fantastic book. Back in the day, it used to be required reading on the OTO reading list. If you ever went to join the OTO, that would be one of the books they got you to read. Good stuff. Inhumane Society 19 says, I'm embarrassed to be Jewish. Don't be embarrassed, dog. Everybody has got that one guy in their race that's a little bit sus. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm Greek, half Greek. So I don't know. There's who's a bad Greek guy actually? Oh, where's my camera blurring up? Come on, bring it in. That's right. Also, we got some other comments here. The Nazi are the same as that one group you can't name. Is this Cool Crab, Nazi Poison Steiner? Oh, as in they try to kill him. Did they actually poison him? Because they did want him dead. But I don't know about that. What's this? Blair Witch money tape dropping soon? Okay. I know what you guys are on about. But anyway, You guys drop some suggestions in the chat of who else we should have on this tier list next time. Or what other tier lists should we do? This is the most important one. So, we got Crowley, we got Cromhella. Who's next? So this gentleman, this next gentleman, guess who this is, actually? I'm just gonna wait a bit. Everyone in chat, guess who this gentleman is. This gentleman with his pipe, it's a bit little. Ooh. So I'm just switching through here. An iceberg of occult books or occult authors. That's what you want to see next? Maybe I'll do that, Nulu. You don't know who that guy is? So, guys, I know this is a little bit hard to see because the pictures are so small, but this here is Arthur Edward Waite. So everyone, y'all who have your tarot cards in the back, y'all who have the Rider-Waite deck, who learned tarot with your Rider-Waite deck, this is the guy. It is him. The occult scholar par excellence. So this guy knew Latin, and this guy translated a shit ton of stuff. So even to a degree of when you would look up alchemists like Thomas Vaughan or Raymond Lull, and you would look up biographies, in English there'd be nothing, except there would be something. Thomas Vaughan, but now there is one now by Peter Levander. But before Peter Levander's Thomas Vaughan biography, there was only one, and it was by Arthur Edward Waite. You look up Raymond Lull, and there's nothing. Oh, there's one. There's one Raymond Lull biography done by Arthur Edward Waite. This guy did everything. So he would have 100% been invited. And he's a British aristocrat. So let's all everyone admit something here. British aristocrats do not have the best. Do not have the best, what shall we call it? running tally, running score, They don't got the best marks, you know what I'm saying? We know some aristocrats, British aristocrats, and what they like to get up to with, the boys. If you know what I'm saying. So your British aristocracy does like the island, unfortunately. So I feel bad. I'll bring him back. No. He's definitely invited, but I'm just gonna bring him lower. Put him lower. There may be some diddles, but I think he would have definitely. He's a bit boring and dry, actually. So I am gonna bring him back here, but I'm gonna keep him up because there may have been, he would have been like, dude, there's lots of women here. Do you have any boys in the back? As a true British aristocrat would say. Now. Next up. Can you all guess? Y'all guess who this is? Y'all guess. Who's this next gentleman that I put right under Fiddler? That feels bad, though. Who's this guy? I can't just be giving you this. This is also school. This is esoteric school, okay? Barden, there we go. Jackie boy. Franz Barden, the man, the myth, the legend. Initiation into Hermetics, Key to the True Kabbalah, and the second book, which was... We don't talk about the second book. Nonetheless, also, if you want to read the third book, become a YouTube member, become a Gnostic Hierophant, get involved in the secret chat, and we do readings monthly, going through Barden's third book and its practices. Now, Franz Barden is very interesting because he was like occultist in the wrong time of history because, Europe, World War II, he got put in a camp, but he was also Eastern European. So when the camp got liberated, who did it get liberated by? Not the Americans, the communists. So he got put straight out of the camp and into jail for being a filthy filthy occultist. What is this bourgeoisie superstition? They did not like him, and he died in prison. Alas. But his mission, and he was also a bit of a healer. He was also a bit of a magician and an entertainer. So I'm thinking he would have been invited. I'm thinking he would have been invited. And the thing that is interesting about Barden is he was, you can kind of see he's a bit of a porky boy. I mean, back then, no one was really a Chubbs McGee. You know, there wasn't corn syrup in the food back then. But if you ever see pictures of Franz Barden, he's it's not just that he's not a cancer or anything. It's not that just that he has a round face. He's a bit of a Chubbs McGee. He actually liked food. He liked his bacon sandwiches. So he would have definitely gone, because Epstein, Epstein threw parties, and he would have been like, oh shit, they got prawn hors d'oeuvres? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So he would have been invited, and he would have accepted for the food, not realizing that there were women in the back. He would have just been eyeballing the food. And then it's the thing. Like, I think he would have been drinking, he would have been eating, and then he would have gotten roofied, and then, that butthole wide open. They would have gotten all the Kabbalistic knowledge. Buffett boy. He was a Buffett boy. So I'm thinking he would have got diddled down. He probably would have been roofied. Let's face it, guys. Let's face it. Although he did have a really strong etheric body, so the roofies may have had no effect on him. So I'm going to pull it back up a little bit. Let's be honest. Now, let's speed through here. We got Blavatsky next. Madame Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophical Society. Definitely erudite enough to be invited to Epstein Island. Here's the thing. You may not know this about Madame Blavatsky, but she was apparently a massive bitch. There are stories of Madame Blavatsky where someone went to meet her, and they took the bus, and they arrived on the street, and as soon as they got off the bus, they heard this noise. And they're like, what is that? And then as they start walking towards the Theosophical Society, the noise gets louder and louder. And when they reach the front of the society, they realize it's Madame Blavatsky on the second floor. The windows are open, and she's screaming. She's reprimanding her students, basically. So, some teachers, give you the bang, give you a little clip on the knuckles. Madame Blavatsky just went full Russian, complete psycho. Leo, Sun, Virgo, Mercury, there's no impressing her, always critical. Like this face that she's there where she's just looking at you tired, like 100%, you would have been afraid. So I actually think not diddle or fiddle, she would have just been refused completely. Epstein would have been intimidated by a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. He would have just been like, oh, hell no. I should have had Charles Leadbeater on this list, by the way. He would have been right at the top with fiddle. He would have been fiddling all night long. Spoiler alert, but nonetheless. Blavatsky, completely denied. Which is going to be the opposite for our girl, the one, the only, Dion Fortune. Dion Fortune, easy invite because she's a girl, and also she's a schoolgirl. So let's face it, boys, diddle. She's one of the victims. We've all read Psychic Self-Defense. She's a victim. She would have, of course, come out of this stronger. She would have been one of the whistleblowers. Like some of the victims, like they're broken and they stay. They don't speak afterwards. But she would have been a victim, but then she would have spoken up. She would have been the ones to speak up. You know what I'm saying? That's our girl. So I'm just trying to align my little screen. Okay. This is just supposed to be a short stream. So let's power through these now. Eliphas Levi, he's French, so fiddler. But would he have been accepted? He is a Catholic priest, but Epstein was Jewish, and he didn't even though maybe libertine, he was a socialist, I don't think he would have been invited. By the way, also, disclaimer. I know we're like 20 minutes into this. Disclaimer. This is This entire video is a joke, by the way. Of course, LFS Levy. LFS Levy is a good boy, child of God, would have never done any of this, but because he's French and a Catholic priest, we're gonna put him there, okay? Funny, I don't see Steven Pinker on the list. This is Occultist. Steven Pinker is a filthy materialist who's addicted to stats. I'm Steven Pinker. The world's getting better. How do I know? Because number go up. Therefore, thing good because number go up. Shut up, Steven. Now, next up, what do we got? Triple G. Gregory Gregarious, the founder. Actually, it was Eugene Gorsh. Sorry. Well, that was his magic name. Was his magic name? It was GG something. Eugene Gorsh, the founder of the Fraternity of Saturn. This guy, fiddler, 100%. He's German. He's an occultist. I think he would have been interesting. It's hard. I'm not sure if he was cool enough or like aristocratic enough to be invited, to be interesting enough to be invited, but he's definitely Fiddles. He's Fiddles McGee. I'm going to just move him over slightly because I'm not sure if he would have been invited. I'm going to be honest with y'all. But, you know, this Promethean, this Saturn, you know, that ascetic, he definitely would have been open to it. But I don't know if Epstein would have been digging his jive. You know what I'm saying? Epstein still had the drip. And this guy here, he's just weird cosplayer. So I don't know about that. So Levy is basically Musk. What? The next 5 is a crazy lineup. Hell yeah, it is. So next 5, let's go. Our boy, Manly P. Hall. He, occult scholar extraordinaire, Manly P. Hall Society, Secret Teachings of All Ages. 100% he would have been invited. Look at that pencil mustache. Here's the thing, though. People who don't know this about Manly P. Hall was actually quite naive. And there's this whole thing about him being, there's like a really deep, this is Manly P. Hall lore. There's a Manly P. Hall murder theory where Manly P. Hall was actually murdered by someone. And he was completely naive. Like he believed there was this woman and this guy, and he believed that they were psychic. And they were just complete con artists who conned him out of money. And they killed him in the end. There's this weird Manly P. Hall murder theory for those who Manly P. Hall heads out there. You'll know what I'm talking about. So I think he would have been invited, and he would have just been completely oblivious. Like, oh, there's this gentleman who throws lots of parties. Yes, I shall attend. And then he would have just been roofied, and 100%. He would have been roofied, victim as well. Victim. I'm just going to put him on top of Dion. Both victims. Poor man. He had those dreamboat eyes too. 100%. 100%. Now, oh, what the hell? I just realized I forgot to put Gurdjieff in this. Oh, God damn it. Okay, so Max Heindel probably refused. Max Heindel, I'm going to just keep him straight in the center. Because he's not that big of a deal. Let's be honest. I love Rosicrucian conception theory. Rosicrucian conception. Whatever his book was called. Whatever that book's called. Rosicrucian Fellowship. Yeah, sure, but it's one of the lesser known ones. It's like, I swear I had Gurdjieff in this. Add an additional file to the list. Yeah, dog. Where the fuck? How did Gurdjieff slip? Where is he? Where's my Gurdjieff picture? Actually, you know what? Y'all hold up. Hold up for a second. I'm going to get me some Gurdjieff Burge. We need Gurdjieff on this list. Where is he? Just going through my comp. That's a good enough picture. Download. Okay, there we go. We got Gurdjieff. So now back. We all up with this? Okay. He's already on the island. Okay. So, Max Heindel. I kind of think he just gets forgotten. I'm going to be honest. He just gets forgotten. And even if he went, he would have just been a wallflower. He would have been like trying to talk to people at the party and they would have just been brushing him off. Like, you know, when you get a circle of people, like one guy comes in and everyone's like, oh, who's this guy? And then they start talking. He's just there like, and then he tries to say something and someone's like, yeah, so, and it's just like, I feel like that's Max Heindel. Like, sorry, Hindy, sorry, Hind. So in a sense, Max Heindel gets emotionally diddled. That's what's happening to Max Heindel there. He's that's what's up with Heindel. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Now, what's that? I have a power fantasy where LFS Levy is placed at the bottom in the diddle section. Sorry for sharing. Jesus Christ. What is the premise of this stream? Bruh, look. Someone was going to do it, okay? Someone was going to do it. It just happens that this is me. It was me. Now, next up, Uspensky. The man, the myth, the legend. Also, is it just me? But can I get... Sorry, everyone. I was just checking if my wife came home. Can I get an opinion in here? I'm just doing this before my wife comes home. If she rolls up in the garage, like in the driveway, I'm just going to immediately end stream. Uspensky. Can I ask everyone this? I've always wanted to ask this. Does Uspensky look kind of like Carl Jung? You know what I'm saying? Like, they got this white guy, like, very similar phenotype. Like, Uspensky was pure Russian, though, and Jung was that Swiss boy. And so it's kind of like Germanic Swiss. So it's like this weird thing. Like, maybe Uspensky was like more of a higher Varangian God, Rus kind of descent. But I feel like they have a similar face shape and phenotype. And because they're both old guys with glasses, I'm just like, damn, I always confuse them when I look at them. Anyway, this is Uspensky. Would he have been invited? Uspensky was obsessed with the fourth dimension. He wrote Fourth Dimension. He wrote Tertium Mortigum. He would have 100% been invited. He would have gone. He would have partied. I think he would have partied. But, like, I don't know. He would have been a bit wary. But here's the thing. He's Russian. He would have drank vodka. He would have gotten down. I don't know. Maybe he would have been like, oh, there's a lot of girls here. Like, this is a bit weird. But he wouldn't have, like, gone into the back rooms or noticed anything weird. So I'll just put him on the line. On the line. He would have 100% been invited. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Would Count Saint Germain be down for island activities? Based 100% yes. Yes, he would have. He would have, and then he would have poisoned everyone's drinks. 100%. Now, next up, Julius Evola. Julius Evola is interesting because he's Italian. So you know he's all sexing up. But here's the thing. Does everyone know that Italian prime minister who, like, has sex with all those supermodels? And then there's, like, an email exchange between him and, like, Epstein or something where he's like, unlike you, all the girls return to my bed willingly. So I think Evola would have out-giga-chatted Epstein and he would have been denied. So I'm just going to put him up on the fiddle because he's Italian, he's sassy, he definitely gets the women. But Epstein ain't letting him in the island. He's not being let in the island at all. You know what I'm saying? Evola in a wheelchair like Stephen Hawking. Exactly. Now, we're coming close to the end here. We got Steiner. What's up with Steiner? Steiner, because of Steiner's clairvoyance, Steiner was this polymath. So he had so much information, so much knowledge. He would have 100% been invited, but he would have also refused, like Krumheller, the two German boys. I'm just going to make them kiss. They would have both used their clairvoyance and been like, nah, dog, I see the Babylonian sacrifice ritual going on in the back. Hell no. And he would have denied that shit. You know, mightn't... What's that? We all know Martin Fawkes is topping Jack Parsons in the Temple buildings. That's funny. That's very funny. You're the head of the FOGC lodge. Apparently had a connection. Is that the lodge that, what is it, Barden talks about in the Frabeto? I mean, here's the thing about those lodges, though. A lot of those lodges were, if they weren't directly a part of the Thule Society, they would have just been closed down. Those esoteric lodges in World War II were just closed down. Like the Fraternity of Saturn, closed down. OTO, closed down. Karl Germer, he was the head of the Fraternity of Saturn. Actually, no, not at that time. I think it was the head of the OTO at that time. And I'm pretty sure he got put in a camp. And that's when he did his Holy Guardian Angel ritual, because he's like, I guess I've got time now, and just sat in a corner doing Holy Guardian Angel invocations while in while in a death camp or whatever. That's some weird Karl Germer lore. But so this is the hard thing. And the Thule Society, people don't want to, and the Vril Society, people don't want to admit this, but there ain't no Vril maidens, dog. Those societies those groups were spy networks. They were a cult, more than likely, but they were more spy networks than they were, oh, we're going to get a bunch of girls, supermodels with uncut hair. The bullshit. Nah, the spy networks. Friggin', what was the guy who started the Thule Society, Sabetendorf? When you look up his Wikipedia article, it's he died, and it's clearly he unalived himself, jumping in a river in 1945. But if you type his name into Google and look up, there's German and Turkish websites, and if you Google translate them, they're all friggin' Sabetendorf spotted in the 1970s alive, and it's yeah, this guy was a part of Odessa. He was a spy in Turkey for the Germans during World War II, and when Odessa in the Eastern Europe, the spy networks were integrated into the CIA, he would have just been a German spy who would have just been bought by the Americans so that he could spy on countries in the East. Those societies would have continued like that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Now, the man. Oh, sorry, let me just turn that off. The man, the myth, the legend, Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff would have been invited. And there's no real place to put him on there. I'm going to put him on top of Crowley, Lamal. I feel and I mentioned this before, I feel Gurdjieff would have gone just to Max. He would have just like Steiner and Krumheller, he would have just been this guy's dodgy as F. But he would have gone and then conned Epstein out of millions of dollars. He would have been used car salesman. Boom. Would have just Epstein to Epstein. And would have just gotten just would have fleeced him. Just would have fleeced him. And then not only that, but would have also somehow converted other people to the fourth way. That's what Gurdjieff would have done. Easily. You can see him doing that. Now, there's one more person I want to put on this because I forgot to add him. So I'm just going to bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. This renowned gentleman here. By here, hold up, save. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay. For our final pull, we got Charles W. Leadbeater. So after Blavatsky died, Annie Besant took over, and Annie Besant, kind of a loser if you look up stuff about her. I don't like Annie Besant. But even more dislikable was Charles W. Leadbeater. This guy ruined theosophy. You know, all of the criticisms that people levy at the theosophical texts, like theosophists, they just make stuff up. They've got no footnotes. That's not really true of Blavatsky. If you actually read Blavatsky, she's Virgo Mercury. She's footnoting her stuff. She may be source the stanzas of Dhyani, which are lost in the mountains of Tibet, but I saw them with my own eyes. Source, trust me, bro. She may do that, but she also like sources a bunch of other scientific works and a whole bunch of slew of things. She's actually more solid than people want to give her credit for. Every assumption that people have and bad thing that people have to say about astrology comes in Annie Besant and Leadbeater's time. They kind of ruin theosophy as a society, and not only that, this guy here, bit of a kiddie fiddler, Catholic priest also, and he was a bit of weirdo. He was a bit of a weirdo. Here's the thing: Dion Fortune knew of this guy, and Dion, remember, whenever thinking about Dion Fortune, always never forget Dion Fortune, our girl. She knew Crowley. Dion Fortune knew Crowley and was like, look, he's a genius, just don't do his practices. That was her opinion of Crowley. She even says that much in her books. When she mentions Leadbeater as well and is like, black magician, don't even touch him. Like, she hated Leadbeater. And you know who else hated Leadbeater? Krishnamurti. So those who don't know, there was this kid called Krishnamurti. So these two theosophists, Leadbeater and Annie Besant, were walking down the beach of India, saw a random kid and was like, he has a giant flaming aura. This guy's an incarnation of Christ. He's literally the second coming. They adopted him and they raised him up to be like a supreme Giga Chad wizard who would like lead basically the new era. And when he came of age, Krishnamurti was like, I'm dissolving the foundation, I'm dissolving the Order of the Star. You don't need gurus, find your own path. And then just like, actually, Krishnamurti was actually based. This is the thing. Krishnamurti was actually based, but he was always a little bit weird about institutions because of how the Theosophists messed with his head. And towards the end of his life, there's this hagiographic thing where it's like, Krishnamurti is like, hey, yo, I forgive all of the Theosophists for what they did to me. Except for Leadbeater, he is a truly evil man. Invited and diddle. Boom. Boom. Absolutely. Now we've got almost... That is what would have happened. And that is our occult rundown. Our occult... This is, I said from history, but this is more modern occultists. If the more occultists from the modern era, if they lived in our time, would they have been... How would they have interacted with Jeffrey Epstein? This is how I think. Something of how I think it would have gone. Am I joking? Am I serious? Neither. I am a secret third thing. Thank you. Thank you all for coming to this live stream. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. I should have mentioned that. Deepak, now, Chopra, yeah. Yeah, we all saw what happened. We all saw what happened with that. Freud? I mean, probably. Can I ask for some pathworking recommendation sources? Yeah, so you know the best source for pathworking is Dion Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah. Pardon me. Dion Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah. Open that book up. You can read the entire book or just go and read Negative Reality, the chapter called Negative Reality, and then the chapter after that called like Ots Chayim, and then skip to chapter 13, Practical Work Upon the Tree. That chapter, Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune, mystical spelled mystical, and Kabbalah spelled with a Q, because it's Hermetic Kabbalah. That chapter 13, Practical Work Upon the Tree, is actually her introducing the concept of pathworking the way she describes it. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Best description of pathworking. Not only does she describe how to do it, but she describes that there's actually two different types. And it's interesting. She actually gives the example of like playing two different musical instruments. She says there's the piano and there's the violin. And it's like, with the piano, you have keys already made. And you can just plink and plonk, and then you assemble the keys together to make a melody. With a violin, the key isn't already made. You have to practice doing the key correctly. And then once you're good at doing the actual, because you can fuck up on just the sound. And once you can actually make the note, Then you string notes. So the violin is extra difficult to learn because you have to make the notes. Whereas with the piano, the notes are just there. You just hit the key. And she describes this with symbols because it's like you can start with a symbol and then path work with that symbol, or you can just completely freestyle and allow a symbol to arise and then use that to path work. And that's the more advanced version. She basically, like, there's the piano where it's the symbols are already assembled, like go through the tarot, go through the Kabbalah. And then there's, once you've done that, you can become an expert. You can become not a piano player, but a violin player at path working. And you can just sit, introspect, allow something to arise from the subconscious and allow, and like path work and gain knowledge that way. Very fantastic description of path working. Lovely. I feel morally damned now. Hilarious. Good night. Good night, everyone. Fiddle time. Yeah, this was just a short one, everyone. This was just a short one. I'm just going to remove that. Stop sharing. So, yeah, this was just a joke. Hilarious. Ha ha ha. Fiddle diddle. Rizzle razzle. Thank you for all coming along and being silly with me for 40 minutes. Mwah. I love you all. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, actually, it's on StreamYard. How do I end the stream?